Hello and welcome to your BSc course. We will be starting the first paper of physics today, that is mechanics and properties of matter. So in this course, the first part, the first three chapters will be dealing with mechanics, and the last chapter we will be studying the different properties of matter. So let us start with the first part, that is mechanics, and let us ask the very simple question, that is, what is mechanics? What is mechanics? Now, perhaps you might have heard this word before, or it might be a new word. So, let me just quickly explain what this word exactly means. So, mechanics simply means the study of the motion of bodies. It simply means the study of motion of bodies. So whenever you have bodies or objects or particles in motion, whenever we try to study it, whenever we ask the question why something is moving, whenever we ask the question how it is going to move, how far it is going to move, what is the force on it. So any question related with the motion of bodies is called mechanics. And interestingly, mechanics was the first branch of physics to be discovered. So in all of physics, or at least physics that we know today, that is all the physics that we have studied up to today, the first branch that was studied in physics was mechanics. It was the first branch to be discovered, and also this is the foundation. Mechanics is the foundation on which all other branches of physics are built upon. So if you decide to study physics in your second year and third year, you will see that many other branches of physics depend upon mechanics. Okay, and it also has many other applications in other areas of science, so not just physics. Let's take for example astronomy is heavily dependent on mechanics. Then geology depends on mechanics. And engineering has a lot of applications which are based on mechanics. So that is why when you have started your BSc course and when you're going to study the physics paper, your very first paper has mechanics in it, and that's why your first chapter is also based on mechanics. Now we are going to start with the first chapter today, and the first chapter, as you can see, its title is simply motion. So the first chapter is called as motion. So what are we going to study in this chapter? We are going to study what is motion, what are the types of motion, and we are also going to study three basic laws which are called as Newton's laws of motion. So basically that is the brief outline of this chapter. Okay, so let us start with the discussion of our chapter, that is what is motion. So let us ask another question, that is what is motion. Now of course we know the answer, but let us try and discuss it briefly. So motion is simply, if you take the dictionary meaning of this English word motion, you can just say that motion is nothing but the action of moving. So whenever you see something that is moving, you say that it is in motion. So suppose you're playing cricket and you hit a ball, you say that the ball is in motion. Or you see a car that is moving, you say it is moving. So in our day-to-day life, we see many objects that are moving around us. For example, we have cars, we have buses, bicycles. These are all vehicles on road. You have ships moving in the sea, you have aeroplanes moving in the air, even the rivers. In the river you will see water across the river that is moving. Okay, these are things that we can see. There are also some things which are moving which we cannot see. For example, we have air. The air around us is moving, but we can't see it. But even air is in motion. Then the moon around this earth is moving. And we also know that our earth itself is moving. So there are a lot of things that are moving. Now, whenever an object changes its position with time, it is said that it is in motion. Let me write this down. This is very important. Whenever, or rather an object when an object changes its position with time with time sorry with time, it is said to be in motion. It means the object is said to be in motion. Okay, so what is the statement that we have written? Let us just discuss it a bit. Whenever an object changes its position with time, it is said to be in motion. So let us take that we have a block here. I've kept a block here, okay, and I see at time t is equal to, let's say it's 12 o'clock right now, okay. So I'll call this t1. I'll call this at the first time when we are measuring this, the time is 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, if this block, I'll call this block A, is at this position. So right now this is its position. If I check its position at 12:01, that is 12 o'clock and 1 minute. So 1 minute later at time t2, I see that the block is here. So whenever I see an object which has changed its position with time, I say that that object is in motion. Alright, one more thing. Whenever we talk about an object moving, it is always with respect to another object, okay. So let me write this down as well. This is another important. Now these statements might seem very trivial, that you feel that this statement, oh, of course this is true, but in physics we have to define everything, and we are going to start studying this subject for almost for the first time. Of course you have studied a bit of this in 11th and 12th, but this is going to be a revision and a few topics that you haven't studied in 11th and 12th. So what I'm saying is, we have to, even in physics, many times when we start describing things, we make statements, because not everything is always easily expressed in words. So even if now you feel that this is very simple, this was not so. So scientists had to think about it, analyze it, and then make it into a very simple statement. So the second statement that I'm making about motion is, whenever we say an object is moving, so if I say an object is moving, I make this statement, or anybody make this statement, an object is moving, what does he mean? It is always with respect to another object. It is always with respect to another object. What do we mean by that? We can only detect motion if something behind we consider another object. Now for example, let's take another example. Let me see that there is a car here, okay. There is a car here and there is a tree over here. So I have a tree in the background and this is a car here, okay. I'll call the car C. Now if this car is moving, let's say that at some position the car is here, and after some time the car changes its position and the car reaches this point. Now I can only understand that this car has moved from outside. I'm not standing in the car, okay. I'm standing outside the car. So I can only understand that this car has moved if I see that it is moving with respect to something. So with respect to this tree, I can say that the car is moving. If there was no background at all, okay, there is no background, we are in space, and there is nothing to see beyond the car, we will never be able to understand whether the car is moving or not if we are standing outside the car. So the only reason we see something is moving is because there is some surrounding with which we are comparing it. So there is some object in the background which is not moving, so with respect to this we say that the car is moving. All right, let me give you an example. Let's take a position inside the car. Right now we are outside the car. What if we are sitting inside the car? Okay, so here you have the driver of the car, and here let's say you and your friend are sitting. So you are sitting here and your friend is sitting here. Now is your friend moving with respect to you? No, because every time you see at this position, when you see your friend is sitting to your left. After some time the car has moved forward, but when you look to your left, your friend is still sitting to your left. So with respect to you, your friend is not moving. But if an observer is standing outside the car, he will say that the car and the two passengers are moving. But inside the car, both the passengers will say that they are not in motion. They will think that every time they see next to them, they find their friend sitting next to them. So with this, when we say with respect to, this is very, very important. So whenever we say an object is moving, it is always with respect to another object, okay. So how can I make this statement more precise? I can say when an object moves, its position with respect to another object changes with time. All right, let me just take a fresh page. When an object moves, when an object moves, its position. Earlier I just said its position changes. Now I'm going to qualify this. Its position with respect to. With respect to. And in physics, since we use this with respect to often, we usually use the abbreviation WRT. So if I write WRT, you should know that I'm writing with respect to. With respect to another object. I'm sorry. With respect to another object is changing. Changes with time. So whenever an object moves, its position with respect to another object changes with time. Alright, so this was just briefly, we have discussed a little bit about motion. So now let us start with a very important topic, that is types of motion. So we are going to start with one more topic right now, that is types of motion. Okay, one more quick thing that I want to tell you is, please write the notes as I am teaching. So as you watch the video, don't just watch this video, please make your notes while I'm writing. And if you feel I have changed the page quickly, so you can just go back or you can pause the video and write it down quickly. You will not be able to learn physics if you're just watching a video. So you have to write when somebody else is writing, only then you will be able to learn properly. Okay, so that was just something in passing. Okay, now types of motion. What are types of motion? Now, since we are studying motion, we are going to classify motion into different categories. Okay, so most of this I think you might already be aware of. So this is just going to be a brief revision and a quick recollection. So in your 11th standard and your 12th standard, and even before that, you have studied these different types of motion. So we are just going to have a very quick revision of these different types of motion. Okay, so first one is linear motion. Linear motion. What is linear motion? Always remember, in physics or in maths, whenever you see the word linear, the first four letters are line. So linear means related to a line. So what is linear motion? Linear motion is simply motion along a straight line. Motion along a straight line. So linear motion is whenever you see an object which is moving in a straight line, it is not curving around. It means it is in a linear motion. What are some examples? Whenever a car is traveling on a straight road, that is linear motion. If you see a stone falling, dropped from a building. So if you go on top of a building and if you drop a stone, so the stone will fall in linear motion unless you throw it in a curve. If you just drop it from your hand, it will be linear motion. And whenever motion is not along a straight line, so motion along a straight line is linear motion. Suppose the motion is curved or zigzag or crooked, this is called non-linear motion. So linear motion and another kind of motion is non-linear motion. Alright, the second type of motion is circular motion. Circular motion. Now what is circular motion? Circular motion is very simple. Whenever the object is following a circular path during its motion, whenever the object follows a circular path. So if the object follows a circular path, you will say that this object is in circular motion. And plus there is one more important thing, that whenever an object is following circular motion, its distance, it is at a fixed distance from a point. So this circle, if this is the center, see this distance is fixed, that is the radius, whether the object is here or the object is here or the object is here. The object can be anywhere, but it is always at a fixed distance from a particular point, and in this case it is the center. Okay, what are the examples of circular motion? We have a fan. Most of you have a fan in your room. The blades of the fan are moving in circular motion. Or a merry-go-round. You must have seen merry-go-rounds in whenever on some kind of playgrounds or fairs. So merry-go-round is another example of circular motion. Of course, we know many more examples from our day-to-day life. All right, let's move on. The third one is called oscillatory motion. Oscillatory motion. Now what is oscillatory motion? Oscillatory motion is simple, to and fro about a point. So to and fro motion. and fro motion about a point. So any motion which is repeating itself about a point. So if there is some kind of motion, this is a point. If there is some motion that the object goes right, then comes back left, then goes right, then comes back left. So this is oscillatory motion. What is the best example of this? I think best example is a pendulum or a swing. You might have seen a swing in the park. A swing also is following oscillatory motion. Or if you have seen a sewing machine, whenever there's a sewing machine, the needle goes up and down, up and down, up and down. So that is also oscillatory motion. It is moving about a point. That is oscillatory motion. Okay, fourth one is called translational motion. I'll just take a fresh page because we'll require it. So I'll just take a fresh page. Again, I'd like to emphasize, please write with me. So the fourth one is translational motion. Translational motion. What is translational motion? Translational motion is simple, that all parts of an object move the same distance in given time. Let me write that down. All parts of an object move the same distance in given time. Okay, so basically almost a lot of motion that we see is translational motion. So if you see a car that is moving, every part of the car is moving the same distance. If the car travels from, say, point A to point B, if this distance is 10 meters, the first wheel of the car has traveled 10 meters, the second wheel has traveled 10 meters, the engine of the car has traveled 10 meters, the mirror in the car has traveled 10 meters. So every part of that car has traveled 10 meters. Or if I walk from point A to B, my right hand has traveled 10 meters, my left hand has traveled 10 meters, my right leg has traveled 10 meters, so on and so forth. Of course, you get the point. Now, so any vehicle, any bird that is moving, any massive object that is moving is all translational motion. Now this translational motion is divided into two categories. So we can say that translational motion can be divided into two different, you can further classify it. One is called rectilinear motion, and the other is called curvilinear motion. I think from the words itself you can get a little bit of idea what this is. Rectilinear means when the object which is in translational motion moves in a straight line. So rectilinear motion simply means the object moves in a straight line. And what does the curvilinear motion mean? Curvilinear motion means it moves along a curved path. So these are pretty basic things, so I'm not writing down everything. If you want, you can write it down in detail. So an object moves in straight line, rectilinear motion. An object moves along a curved path, curvilinear motion. So what is the example? Here if a car is on a straight road, or here if the car is taking a turn, that is curvilinear motion. Alright. What is the next type? Next type is rotational motion. I'll take a fresh page. Rotational motion. I think this is the fifth. Yes. Fifth is rotational motion. Now what is rotational motion? Rotational motion is the motion of a body in which all its particles move in a circular motion with about a fixed point, okay, or around an axis. So if I have a stone, okay, I take a stone, I tie it to a thread, and I move it in a circle. Okay, I move it in a circular fashion. This is circular motion. So this is a single object. But instead of this stone, what if I have something like this? If I have such an object, now this is not a point object, okay? This is something bigger. If this is moving in a circle, then this will be called rotational motion. So what was the statement I was making? I was saying all its particles. So see, if this is a particle, every single point, this particle is also moving in a circle. This particle, let me take a different color so it will be easy to understand. So see this particle over here, this green particle, this is also moving in a circle. If I take one more particle, let me take one more particle, I take a red particle over here, so this red particle is also moving in a circle. So every part of this, every particle in this body is moving in a circular motion. Okay, now if you are wondering what is this weird object, so I have just drawn a blade of a fan. If I make the picture complete, you'll be able to understand. So this is just the blades of a fan. So the blades of a fan, every single particle is executing circular motion. So when there is a big object which is undergoing circular motion, we say that it is in rotational motion. And it is rotating about what? It is always rotating around a point or an axis. So instead of a fan, if you have a top like this, and this is its axis, or let's say the earth is rotating around its axis, right? So you can say the earth is rotating around its axis, the fan rotates around a point. So it will always rotate either around an axis or around a fixed point. Okay, one more thing about rotational motion, this is important. Whenever we have rotational motion, all its parts do not move the same distance in given interval of time. Let me repeat, all the parts are not moving same distance. For example, see this red particle over here, this red particle is only moving this, the radius is small. Let me draw the radius. The point I'm making is the red particle, it is in circular motion, this is its radius. If this radius is small, the circumference will also be small, 2 pi r. So the red particle has moved this much. But what about the green particle? If you observe carefully, for the green particle, the radius is bigger. This is the radius for the green particle. So bigger radius means bigger distance. So this particle has traveled more distance, this particle has traveled less distance. So even though in fixed time all particles are moving, different particles will move different distance. Okay, that is just we are trying to stretch our understanding a bit. So I hope you got this point. Okay, sixth one. What is the next type of motion? Next type of motion is called periodic motion. Periodic motion. Now what is periodic motion? Periodic motion is simply motion that repeats itself after equal interval of time. So it repeats itself, motion that repeats itself after equal intervals of time. Equal intervals of time. Okay, that is simply periodic motion. So can you think of what would be periodic motion? I think the earth rotating, this example again, the earth rotating around its axis, it's periodic motion, right? Every 24 hours it keeps rotating. Or the earth revolving around the sun, the earth revolving around the sun, that is also periodic motion. So here we have the sun and the earth is rotating around it. So this is periodic motion, because this motion happens every 365 days. This motion is repeated. And then the hands of a clock, if you have a clock, the hands of a clock are moving in periodic motion. So every 1 hour the seconds hand of the clock will repeat itself in every 60 seconds. The same motion is being repeated. Same with the minutes hand, same with the hours hand. So all this is periodic motion, and whichever motion does not repeat itself, you can just say that it is non-periodic motion. All right. Now another thing, this classification, this is just to help us. So whenever you take a motion, it is not that you are going to say this is only rotational, this is only periodic, this is only oscillatory. Different types of motion can be combined. Okay, so this is an important thing. So let me just write down, just so that you don't get confused. Different types of motion, can be combined. What do we mean by that? One motion can be periodic and it can also be rotational. For example, see the earth rotating around its axis. It is periodic motion. It is also rotational motion. It is also translational motion. So one particular motion can fall under different categories. So it's not that motion only has to be rotational, only periodic, only circular. No, one motion can fall into different classifications. These classifications are just to help us, understand better. Okay, so hands of a clock, again this example, the hands of a clock, it is again rotational motion and periodic motion. All right, one more thing, one more important, this is a classification based on how the motion is taking place. There is one more classification that we can take. Okay, let me take a fresh page. I'll keep reminding, please write with me. So please write with me. So I'm taking one more type of classification. We can also classify according to dimension. According to dimension or dimensions. What is dimensions? Dimensions means whether the particle is moving in 1 dimension, 2 dimension or 3 dimension. Okay, so I can call this one dimensional motion, one dimensional motion. I can have another is 2 dimensional motion, and I can also have 3 dimensional motion. Three-dimensional motion. What is one dimensional motion? One dimensional motion is along a straight line. So this I'm just writing in brief, along a straight line. This is along a curved path. Curved path. And this is motion in space. So if I have an ant, let's say an ant is moving in a straight line. So it is only moving in one dimension. If I draw a graph, this is only x-axis, right? This is only x-axis. So one dimension. Here, if I have a fly, a mosquito, or rather if an ant is moving in a curved path, if the ant is moving like this, so now it is moving in 2 dimensions. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis. So now the ant is moving in 2 directions. It can move right, it can also move right or left, or it can go up and down. So it has 2 dimensions. This is 2-dimensional motion. Now if you take a mosquito can fly in 3 dimensions. So I can draw this as x, y and z. Sorry, whenever we draw x, y, z, this should be the order. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is z-axis. Okay, so now the mosquito can go right or left. Now the mosquito can go up and down, and the mosquito can come forward and backward. So it can also come out of the page, it can go into the page. So 3-dimensional motion. I think you've understood this point. Okay, one more classification of motion. There is one more thing that we can we can classify motion into. Okay, and that is uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So we can have uniform motion and we can have non-uniform motion. What is the meaning of the word uniform? Where do we hear this word uniform? I think uniform means we immediately remember school uniforms. That means everybody used to come in the same clothes. So just to bring some kind of similarity, we would wear a school uniform. Now similarly, if a body travels equal distance in equal intervals of time, okay, if a body travels equal distance in equal intervals of time, I'll write this also. If a body travels equal distance in equal intervals of time, we call it uniform motion. And simply what will be the case here? If a body travels unequal distance in equal intervals of time. Okay, what do we mean by that? So if you take a car, if a car is here, okay, this is at time let's say 0 seconds. At 2 seconds, if the car moves 2 meters, at 4 seconds it again moves 2 meters, at 6 seconds it again moves 2 meters. So this is 0 seconds, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds, and this distance is 2 meters, this distance is 2 meter, this distance is also 2 meter. So you see it is moving equal distance in equal intervals of time. Every 2 seconds it is moving 2 meters. So you call this as uniform motion. Instead, if a car is starting from the parking, so perhaps you can think that this is a car in motion on a highway where the road is free, and so the car can move at a constant speed. But suppose the car is getting out of its parking. So the car was parked so far. So this is at 0 seconds it is here. At 1 second perhaps it only moves a little bit. So perhaps this distance is only 1 meter. Then it is accelerating, and in the next second it moves 2 meters. In next second it moves 5 meters. So this is unequal distances. This is 1 meter in 1 second, 2 meters in 1 second, 5 meters in 1 second. So different distances in same intervals of time. This is non-uniform motion. Okay. One more thing. If you draw a graph, let's draw the graph for this case. If I draw the graph, just a minute. Please hold on. So if I draw the graph like this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Okay. So if I draw the distance time graph, okay, so this axis is distance, on y-axis I have distance, and on x-axis I have time. In 0, this is 0 seconds, this is 2 seconds, this is 4 seconds, sorry, this is 4 seconds, and this is 6 seconds. And the distance is, this is 2 meters, this is 4 meters, this is 6 meters, and so on. So see, 0 meters the car was here, 2 minutes it has traveled 2 seconds, sorry, 2 seconds it has traveled 2 meters, 4 seconds it has traveled 4 meters, and then 6 seconds it has traveled 6 meters. So if I draw the line, how will the line look like? The line will look something like this. So the distance time graph is a straight line. What is the conclusion? Distance time graph, I'll write it here. Distance time graph is a straight line. What about here? I'll draw the graph here again. So the same situation, this situation that I have explained, I'm going to draw it here. So this is the x-axis again, this is the y-axis, and this is 0 seconds, this is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds. So this is 2, this is 3, and this is 1 meter, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. Okay. So 0 seconds the car was here. At 1 second the car has moved 1 meter. So this point. At 2 seconds it has moved 3 meters. So somewhere over here. At 3 seconds it has moved 5 from 2. So 5 plus 2 becomes 7 meters. So somewhere over here. So now see, this is not a straight line. This is somewhat a curved or a zigzag curve. So whenever you have a curve or a zigzag pattern, it won't be straight. So you can simply say, in this case, it was a curve, right? So you can say that the distance time graph is a curved line, or it is not straight. You can also say it is not straight. Okay. So that is the different ways in which we classify motion. So we will stop the lecture here today, and we will continue in the next lecture. So I hope you've understood. I've tried to explain it a bit. If you have any doubts, please post it in the comment section on YouTube, and I'll try and answer any doubts that I can answer. So thank you.